Mo Fei. This little fellow, please instruct him to fight Mo Lehi in advance, using his military merits in the Flame Demon Province as an irrefutable reason for me to not refuse. This child is quite interesting. Approved. Demon Sovereign. If they set a precedent, other demon generals might. An elderly voice echoed from within the palace. If others also have millions of battle merits, then it's approved. Understood. A moment later, an elder walked out from the palace, holding a memorial, shaking his head slightly, and hurriedly left. As the date for the Demon General War drew nearer, the entire celestial demon city was shrouded in a suffocating atmosphere, with conflicts breaking out almost daily. This is just a game. Wang Lin sat beside the river, putting down his wine flask and gazing at the somewhat overcast sky, murmuring to himself. A game in the eyes of the Demon Emperor. To the Demon Emperor, outsiders fighting each other during the Demon General War for a single goal. That's the perfect game. Wang Lin took a sip of wine, his eyes clear and serene. He remained silent for a moment before standing up and slowly walking into the dusk. It was already the 7th day, and there were only 8 days left until the Demon General War. In the evening, perhaps due to the increasingly oppressive atmosphere in Celestial Demon City, the streets were becoming quieter. A man dressed in green walked step by step towards the Mo residence, about 100 paces away. He carried a large sword on his back, his steps steady and his face expressionless. With each step he took, a faint aura of immortal power began to emanate from him, gradually spreading through the air. At the same time, a heavy, suffocating atmosphere enveloped the Mo residence. Inside the Mo residence, Mo Lehi was in a secret room, meditating and cultivating. Before him, 17 small figurines, no larger than the size of a palm, flickered with strange demonic light, circling around him. Demonic chi poured out from Mo Lehi's body, connecting with the figurines, forming a perfect cycle between them. At this moment, Mo Lehi suddenly opened his eyes. His gaze was like lightning, as if it could pierce through the secret room itself. He sensed the man in green outside the Mo residence. The man gave a soft a faint smile appearing on his lips. He didn't pause his steps as he approached the Mo residence. Without any display of supernatural power, the door to the Mo residence collapsed silently, disintegrating into fragments that flew backward. As the fragments scattered, 2 muffled grunts were heard, and 2 soldiers of the Mo residence exploded into blood mist, their bodies sent flying into the courtyard. The Great Luo Sword Sect, 12 sword prodigies, Mo Yang, requesting an audience with General Mo Lehi. The calm voice of the man in green echoed out, and without stopping, he walked straight into the Mo residence, heading towards the secret room where Mo Lehi was in seclusion. Countless soldiers and Mo Lehi's subordinates appeared, but as the man moved forward, anyone who came within 10 paces of him immediately disintegrated, their bodies crumbling into blood mist without a sound. Along the way, all one could hear were the explosive sounds of bodies collapsing. No one could stop him. Even the surrounding rocks and structures collapsed just like the door of the Mo residence. At this moment, a short figure appeared ahead. This figure growled lowly and took a step forward. As he did, his demonic power surged outward, trying to resist the man from the Great Luo Sword Sect. The man from the Great Luo Sword Sect shook his head slightly, his steps never faltering as he continued forward. With each step, the short figure's face grew pale. He had the distinct feeling that he was not facing a person, but a sword with a cold, gleaming edge. The short figure instinctively retreated, stumbling back several paces. Just then, a hand pressed onto his shoulder, steadying him. Behind him, 3 old men appeared. All of them were white-haired elders. They stood coldly, watching the man from the Great Luo Sword Sect. The man from the Great Luo Sword Sect's gaze landed on the 3 elders. He smiled slightly and continued moving forward. The 3 elders' expressions grew serious as they prepared to use their powers, but suddenly, a low voice rang out from behind them. "Who sent you here?" The voice was filled with authority. Immediately, the 3 elders stepped aside, revealing the tall figure of Mo Lehi behind them. Mo Lehi gazed at the young man from the Great Luo Sword Sect with eyes like burning coals. At this moment, His aura was even more intense than when he had faced Wang Lin in the ancient demon city. The young man from the great Luo sword sect's eyes flashed with sharpness. He halted and spoke slowly. Demon General Mo Fei. Mo Lehi frowned and shouted, "What is it?" "I come on behalf of Lord Mo Fei to deliver a challenge to General Mo." The young man spoke with composure, waving his right hand. A flash of golden light shot out and stopped before Mo Lehi. Mo Lehi's face darkened as he glanced at the golden invitation in front of him. It bore only one word: war. 3 days later, outside the ancient path pavilion, the man from the great Luo sword sect spoke these words and turned to leave. However, as soon as he turned, his body stiffened, and a powerful aura suddenly erupted from him. This aura was far more intense than when he entered the Mo residence earlier. A flash of light sparked in his eyes as he stared ahead, a figure standing 100 feet away. He spoke in a deep voice, "Seventh son of the purple lineage, Wang Lin." Mo Lehi, who only now noticed Wang Lin's presence, let out a sigh of relief. Wang Lin didn't even glance at the man. He walked forward, his steps not hurried, but in the eyes of the great Luo sword sect man, a hint of anger immediately began to rise. The rumors say the seventh son of the purple lineage is arrogant. Seeing him today, it's true. The man from the great Luo sword sect sneered. Wang Lin appeared to ignore him, continuing to walk. At that moment, the great Luo sword sect man's aura surged, like a sword drawn from its sheath, locking onto Wang Lin. Just as his aura reached its peak, Wang Lin casually walked past him without pausing, crossing paths with him. The great Luo sword sect man froze for a moment, but immediately, his anger intensified. He spun around and shouted at the retreating Wang Lin. "Wang Lin, did you hear me?" Wang Lin did not stop, continuing on his way to his residence. The man from the great Luo sword sect's eyes flashed with cold light. As one of the 12 sword prodigies of the great Luo sword sect, his status on Destiny Star was comparable to the 7 children of heavenly destiny, and his reputation was formidable. But now, he was being completely ignored by this person. The man sneered, his body swaying as he appeared right in front of Wang Lin, coldly saying, "Wang." Before he could finish, Wang Lin looked up and calmly spoke. "Cultivators shouldn't lose their temper so easily. After 1,000 years of cultivation, you are truly disappointing." Had a figure from the 7 children of heavenly destiny said this, the man from the great Luo sword sect would have humbly accepted it. But hearing it from Wang Lin, it sounded exceedingly harsh. He laughed out of anger, his gaze turning even colder as he said, "I'm eager to see the results of your 1,000 years of cultivation. Move aside." Wang Lin shook his head and said indifferently. The man from the great Luo sword sect laughed loudly, forming a hand seal with his right hand. A sword chi suddenly surged from his body, multiplying from 1 to 2, from 2 to 4, and in the blink of an eye, it became 64 sword chis, roaring towards Wang Lin. Wang Lin's expression remained unchanged. He didn't even look at the 64 sword chis. In an instant, all the sword chis struck Wang Lin, but at that moment, the seal of life flashed across his body, and all the sword chis vanished upon contact. "Is this all the power you have? It seems your 1,000 years of cultivation hasn't just been disappointing, it's been for nothing." Wang Lin shook his head. The great Luo sword sect man's face changed drastically, disbelief in his eyes. His 64 sword chis, though not the most powerful, had been casually dealt with, and this shocked him deeply. What kind of divine power is this? This person didn't use any magical artifacts, but my sword chis immediately collapsed upon contact. Even Dragon's Son, among the 12 sword prodigies, could never achieve this. Wang Lin shook his head and continued walking forward. The man from the great Luo sword sect instinctively took a few steps back, taking a deep breath and placing his right hand on the great sword behind him. Wang Lin frowned, casting a cold glance at him before speaking again. "Leave. You came here with a challenge, but I won't kill you today. You, in your perfect late infant metamorphosis stage, have cultivation equal to mine. No matter how powerful your divine abilities are, you will never withstand my sword." The great Luo sword sect man's expression darkened as he stopped wasting words. He swung his right hand, and his treasured sword immediately flew up. Boom. The sky seemed to split with a thunderous roar, and a giant purple sword suddenly appeared above the man. The sword emitted an overwhelming sword chi, and almost as soon as it appeared, it enveloped the area in a deadly sword aura. A strange pattern was engraved on the sword. A gigantic purple ram phantom immediately emerged from this pattern. The ram was massive, exuding a violent and ferocious aura. It merged with the sword, and instantly, the sword's power increased. Final goat, sword slash. The man growled as his entire immortal power erupted. His right hand slashed downward at Wang Lin. At the same time, the enormous sword in the air followed his movement, bringing with it an unimaginable force, roaring toward Wang Lin. Mo Lehi's expression changed, and he immediately retreated, his companions following suit and stepping back hundreds of feet. The giant sword descended like a bolt of lightning from the sky, and with a thunderous crash, the air seemed to vibrate with the sound of rumbling thunder. Wang Lin's expression remained calm. He shook his head slightly. This giant sword did have power, especially after merging with the ram's soul. Its power was indeed terrifying, but the man before him couldn't unleash the full potential of the ram's soul. Such a waste of a good sword, Wang Lin said, raising his right hand. In that moment when the giant sword came down, the man from the great Luo sword sect showed an extreme shock in his eyes. He grabbed the sword. The giant sword let out a series of roars, and the soul of the sheep on it revealed a fierce glint, struggling madly, trying to tear free from Wang Lin's right hand. But Wang Lin's right hand was like the hand of an ancient god, possessing immense strength. No matter how the giant sword struggled, his right hand remained unmoving. The evil soul of the sheep on the giant sword roared so loudly that it seemed like the heavens themselves might collapse. A trace of defiance appeared in its eyes, resembling an ancient fierce beast, as it lunged toward Wang Lin to devour him. Although it was a sword spirit, an illusory entity, at this moment, everyone around felt a strange, bloodthirsty wind, as if the sheep's soul had actually devoured them. Foul beast, do you dare? Wang Lin's gaze sharpened. In an instant, a red light flashed in his eyes, and the intent to kill burst forth, entering the sheep's soul's body directly. The sheep's soul let out a mournful cry, its body instantly shattered by the killing aura, turning into countless crystal sparks that quickly returned to the giant sword. The sword stopped struggling, stopped resisting. What Wang Lin did at that moment was eerily similar to what happened years ago when Tian Yunzi's beast soul inside the divine chariot collapsed in an instant. This scene fell into Mo Lehi's eyes, and he couldn't help but suck in a deep breath. The look in his eyes as he gazed at Wang Lin became extremely complicated. In just 3 months, he's become this strong. Even a deputy commander isn't his opponent, and today, he subdued this terrifying sword soul. If he had this kind of power 3 months ago, I would have undoubtedly lost. The last sheep of the great Luo sword sect staggered, his face turning pale as he spat out a mouthful of blood. His life-bound sword was taken from him, immediately damaging his mind and spirit. He never imagined that Wang Lin would be this strong. Had he known this, he would never have come alone. Gritting his teeth, he pressed his right hand against his forehead, took a deep breath, and a look of resolve appeared in his eyes. His final trump card was a sword chi given to him by his master, Ling Tianho. This sword chi had 12 forms, one for each person, and it was the ultimate life-saving technique. It could not be used easily. Otherwise, in this perilous land of demonic spirits, the remaining 400 years would be nearly impossible to survive. But now, if he didn't use it, he feared he wouldn't be able to leave. Leave. Wang Lin glanced at the last sheep and said slowly, his eyes flashing. The last sheep froze for a moment. I have no grudge with the great Luo sword sect. If it weren't for your repeated provocations, I wouldn't have acted. Please deliver a message to the 12 sword prodigies. In this land of demonic spirits, I do not wish to be your enemy. Wang Lin said. With a flick of his hand, he tossed the giant sword to the last sheep, walked past him, and headed towards his residence. The back of his figure left the last sheep stunned. After the battle just now, he had nearly been forced to use his final life-saving move, but now, with this unexpected turn of events, a sense of disbelief flooded his mind. He took a deep breath, took the giant sword, and after scanning it with his spiritual sense to ensure there was no trickery, he stared at Wang Lin, who was steadily walking away. I will deliver your message. The last sheep's body moved as he soared into the air, quickly leaving Mo residence. Outside Mo residence, 1,000 feet away, he slowed down, but his spiritual sense remained vigilant. He noticed that Wang Lin made no move, as if he really intended to let him go. Wang Lin, this shame, I will repay 100-fold. Your powers are strong, but next time, I will attack with my senior brothers. I don't believe you can stay so calm. If it weren't for Senior Greedy Wolf being in the Flame Demon Province, today, with Senior's help, you would undoubtedly die. The last sheep's eyes revealed a murderous glint. He coldly glanced at Mo residence, then swiftly turned and left. His speed was astonishing, and the further he got from Mo residence, the more relaxed he became. As he reflected on the battle just now, he couldn't help but feel a lingering sense of fear. This Wang Lin is very strong, but if I use my master's sword Qi, he won't be able to resist. The last sheep's lips curled into a cold smile. But just at that moment, from the giant sword behind him, gray mist began to seep out silently, like spiritual snakes, heading straight for his head. A strong sense of danger instantly enveloped the last sheep. But in the blink of an eye, the gray mist shot like lightning directly into his head. The mist moved too quickly, and it was too close. The last sheep barely had time to sense the danger before he let out a miserable cry and fell from the sky. As he fell, his body rapidly withered, and his shrill scream echoed through the air. His primordial spirit had no chance of escaping. After the gray mist entered his body, it immediately turned into marks, severing the connection between his primordial spirit and his physical body. It then quickly absorbed his blood, flesh essence, and immortal power, constantly replenishing the gray mist, making its imprint even stronger. The moment he landed, Mo Yang's eyes snapped open in fury, transforming into a dry corpse. The only thought in his mind was that enormous sword. He had clearly checked it, and his mind was connected to it. So why was there gray mist hidden within? In front of his corpse, a distortion in space occurred as Wang Lin stepped out, his right hand tapping several times on Mo Yang's body. He then grabbed the corpse and with a single step, vanished from the spot. At the Mo residence, Wang Lin's figure stepped out of the void. He relaxed his right hand, causing Mo Yang's body to drop to the ground. Wang Lin's expression grew serious as he slapped his storage pouch. The forbidden banner flew out and immediately transformed into black mist when he flicked it. The mist enveloped the room, with countless restrictions flashing within it. After completing this, Wang Lin took a deep breath, sat cross-legged, and after a brief period of breathing, suddenly opened his eyes. Like a flash of lightning, his gaze fell on Mo Yang's corpse. He carefully observed it, and then focused on the center of the corpse's forehead. His face fluctuated between gloom and light, betraying no emotion. After a moment of silence, he formed hand seals, chanting incantations softly. A ghostly fire appeared between his hands. His hand seals changed, becoming afterimages, before he pointed forward and softly spoke, "Refine." As the ghostly fire drifted toward Mo Yang's corpse, it immediately dispersed and enveloped the body. The crackling sound of burning echoed as the corpse began to visibly melt. Mo Yang's body had already become a dry corpse, with the blood and flesh essence absorbed by the gray mist. As it was set ablaze, a strange odor spread through the room, but Wang Lin didn't pay attention. His gaze remained fixed, unblinking, on the body dissolving within the ghostly fire. In their previous battle, Mo Yang's final gesture of touching his forehead had given Wang Lin a powerful sense of danger. This sense of danger was something he hadn't felt in a long time since he refined the killing intent. Even a mid-stage cultivator could never break through the 3,000 or so life seals on his body and primordial spirit. That energy had surged with an overwhelming dominance, breaking into his heart and mind. It felt like staring death in the face, causing Wang Lin to be momentarily shocked. That's why he had retreated to advance, diffusing the atmosphere at the time. He believed that if Mo Yang hadn't been forced to the brink, he wouldn't have chosen to use this final divine ability. Mo Yang's body gradually dissolved, and his primordial spirit emerged from the ghostly fire. Layers of gray marks covered his spirit, occasionally flashing with eerie light. Mo Yang's primordial spirit kept its eyes tightly shut, motionless in the ghostly fire. Wang Lin's gaze was sharp as lightning, and he scrutinized it. Suddenly, his gaze froze as he stared intently at the center of Mo Yang's primordial spirit's forehead. There, a faint blue thread shimmered, almost imperceptible. Upon closer inspection, the shape of the thread was clearly that of a miniature sword, reduced countless times. As soon as Wang Lin saw the blue thread, his body jolted, and an overwhelming sensation, like facing the sword venerable Ling Tianhou, surged through him. Ling Tianhou. Wang Lin took a deep breath, his eyes heavy with seriousness. Back in front of the Eastern Sea Demon Spirit Gate, before the disciples of the Great Luo Sword Sect entered, Ling Tianhou had released a sword qi, calling it the life-saving divine ability for 12 people. This blue thread is that sword qi. No wonder it feels like life and death. It can directly break through my life seals. Wang Lin's gaze flashed with determination. Since I've seen this sword qi, it's mine. He closed his eyes and placed his hands on his knees. Radiant light shone from the top of his head as his primordial spirit left his body. Almost all of his life seals surrounded his primordial spirit like a suit of armor, tightly guarding it. Wang Lin's primordial spirit, looking at Mo Yang's, paused for a moment. Then with a flash in his eyes, he expelled a stream of primordial spirit fire into the ghostly fire. Instantly, the ghostly fire grew more intense. The primordial spirit fire continued to be expelled from Wang Lin's mouth. Mo Yang's primordial spirit showed signs of pain, as if trying to resist, but the life seals around his body firmly locked him in place. Wang Lin's primordial spirit showed caution as he carefully controlled the refining fire. He avoided provoking the sword qi, instead consuming Mo Yang's primordial spirit bit by bit, slowly refining it. This process lasted for several days. With Wang Lin's strength, he remained focused, continuously expelling primordial spirit fire. His primordial spirit became slightly dimmer, and his face showed signs of fatigue. But his eyes grew ever brighter. After several days, under the relentless refining, Mo Yang's primordial spirit finally collapsed, shattering into points of crystalline light. Among the light, the blue thread flickered quietly, suspended in midair, motionless. Wang Lin's primordial spirit inhaled, drawing in the crystalline light that Mo Yang had turned into. It quickly replenished the energy he had lost over the past few days. After completing this, Wang Lin's primordial spirit hesitated for a moment, gazing at the still motionless blue thread. After a long silence, Wang Lin gritted his teeth and, without further hesitation, swallowed the thread whole. At that moment, his primordial spirit suddenly trembled violently, and the connection with his physical body rapidly dissipated. For this, Wang Lin had long been prepared. He was not far from his body, and at the moment when the connection was about to vanish, he struggled and entered his body just in time. Wang Lin sat quietly in place. Once seated, 3 days passed in an instant. On the third day's dusk, Wang Lin opened his eyes. Within them, there was a calm serenity, but a dazzling light emerged. Mo Lehi sat cross-legged outside Wang Lin's residence. He had been sitting there for 3 days. His face was pale, devoid of color, and over these 3 days, he had attempted to enter Wang Lin's room multiple times. However, seeing the thick, rolling black mist outside, especially the dense restrictions within it, he could not help but stop. As the date for the Demon General War slowly approached, he became increasingly anxious. Yet, he could sense that since Wang Lin had set up such a dense restriction outside his residence, he must be in a crucial stage of cultivation and unwilling to be disturbed. After weighing the pros and cons, Mo Lehi sighed deeply, sitting cross-legged outside, quietly waiting. This day marked the day before the Demon General War. Tomorrow would be a brutal battle. Mo Lehi's anxiety had reached its peak. If Wang Lin did not exit his retreat today, then tomorrow's battle would mean the complete loss of his qualification. After a moment's hesitation, he gritted his teeth, stood up, and walked toward Wang Lin's residence. "Wang brother," Mo Lehi's voice echoed out. At that moment, the black mist surrounding the house suddenly rolled violently, as though there were a gap within it. It quickly spun, forming a vortex, and all of it was sucked into the gap. In the blink of an eye, the black mist outside the house vanished without a trace. Mo Lehi's eyes lit up with joy. He stopped in his tracks, standing outside the house, his gaze sharp. The door to the house slowly pushed open from the inside, and Wang Lin walked out slowly. As soon as he appeared, Mo Lehi inhaled sharply and instinctively took several steps back. His eyes were filled with shock. At this moment, Wang Lin seemed different from before. When he looked at Wang Lin, he felt as though he was standing beneath Mount Tian. Wang Lin's figure was not tall, but at this moment, there was an overwhelming aura, akin to a grand master, radiating towards him, deeply penetrating his mind. "You're injured." Wang Lin closed his eyes, and the aura surrounding him immediately withdrew back into his body, no longer emanating outward. When he opened his eyes again, his body was completely still, like an ordinary mortal. Mo Lehi's perception shifted. Where he once felt the shock of standing beneath Mount Tian, Wang Lin now appeared like a deep, still pool of water, seemingly calm, but capable of drowning anyone who fell in. Mo Lehi took a deep breath and said solemnly, "I lost in my fight with Mo Fei." Wang Lin nodded, walked out of the room, stood in the courtyard, and looked up at the sky. After a moment of contemplation, he asked, "How many days have I been in seclusion?" "Tomorrow is the Demon General War," Mo Lehi replied. He hesitated for a moment before continuing. "Mo Fei is very strong. My 10 collapses fist intent, he completely blocked it. The 100 waves of Demon Sea was even countered by his wheel reversal art. I lost because of that wheel reversal art." Wheel reversal art. Wang Lin looked at Mo Lehi. As the #1 demon general, Mo Fei's divine powers are extremely mysterious. After he became a demon general, he went into the ancient demon hall of the Dragon Pool to meditate for 3 years. Since then, in every battle, he has never had to use a divine power other than the wheel reversal art. The wheel reversal art is a technique that reflects all divine powers. Its power is very strong. Mo Lehi recalled the battle from a few days ago and spoke in a deep voice. Wang Lin's expression remained unchanged. "Mo brother, aside from the 10 collapses fist intent and the 100 waves of Demon Sea, I do not believe you have no other hidden trump cards." Mo Lehi looked at Wang Lin and said calmly, "I do. It is a technique passed down to me by the demon sovereign when I became a demon general. It is called demon ignition. I used it, but even with the wheel reversal art's 18 layers, I broke through 17 layers. In the end, I still lost. Wang brother, Mo Fei and I made an agreement before the battle. The loser must give up the demon general war. Tomorrow, whether I can still get the position of deputy commander depends entirely on you." Mo Lehi's heart was filled with bitterness. He took 2 steps back and bowed deeply to Wang Lin. "I will do my best," Wang Lin said indifferently. Mo Lehi took a deep breath, clasped his hands, and said, "I am grateful, Wang brother. I will not disturb you any further. Tomorrow morning, we will enter the imperial capital together." With that, he clasped his hands again, turned, and left. His figure appeared somewhat desolate. Wang Lin stood quietly in the courtyard, closing his eyes. He stood like this for an entire night. In the morning, the first rays of the sun spread across the earth, driving away the darkness of Celestial Demon City. Sunlight fell upon the imperial capital, and an overwhelming fighting spirit suddenly rose from the 8 outer cities of Celestial Demon City. Within the imperial capital, under the Heavenly Demon Sect, in the Myriad Zhang Plaza, a giant war drum stood. The drum was pitch black, and an ancient aura emanated from it, spreading for miles. A group of soldiers dressed in black armor stepped out from both sides, advancing 1 step at a time, surrounding the entire plaza. Suddenly, one figure burst forth from the ranks, moving like lightning. With his silver hair flying in the wind, he appeared as a war god, rising into the air and delivering a punch upon the massive war drum. Boom! A deep drumbeat echoed from within the imperial capital, reverberating throughout the entire Celestial Demon City. Everyone in Celestial Demon City knew that within the imperial capital, there was a divine drum of the Celestial Demon. This drum only sounded during ancestor worship, the opening of the Dragon Pool, or other extremely grand events. 9 strikes for the Dragon Pool, 6 for ancestor worship, and 3 for all other events. The sound of the drum echoed through the heavens and earth, causing the entire ground of Celestial Demon City to tremble. Countless people were awakened by the drumbeat in the early morning. One by one, demon generals, accompanied by their attendants and helpers, stepped onto the military road, heading straight for the imperial capital. The 8 gates of the imperial capital were all opened. Under the vigilant guards of numerous demon soldiers, the identities of each demon general were carefully verified before they were allowed entry. This battle between the demon generals would take place at the vast plaza of the Heavenly Demon Sect, a place protected by powerful formations that would not be easily damaged. On the eastern side of the plaza, there was a 9-story tiered platform, about 100 zhang long, upon which numerous desks were placed. The civil officials of Celestial Demon City walked out and took their seats one by one. At the very top was a single chair, reserved for the Demon Emperor. On the southern and northern sides of the plaza stood 2 8-story platforms, about 80 zhang long, where numerous female attendants and young masters from various houses sat. The top 2 layers of these platforms each had 4 seats. These 16 seats were designated as follows. The top 8 were reserved for the demon marshals, and the lower 8 for deputy marshals. At this moment, the vast plaza was bustling. Before the arrival of the Demon Emperor, people began to take their seats, gradually filling the area. Among these people, some were yawning, clearly still waking up from their usual slumber at this hour. It wasn't long before the 3 high platforms around the plaza were filled, except for the Demon Sovereign, the Chief Marshal, and Deputy Marshals, who remained absent. Quiet conversations filled the air. This time, Demon General Mo Fei will definitely take first place, without a doubt. Otherwise, Demon General Shi Zhao's cultivation is sky-high, and the rumors say that the helpers he has gathered are even more astounding. This time, Shi Zhao has the qualifications to compete for first place. Demon General Mo Lehi cannot be underestimated either. His cultivation is profound, and his divine powers are extraordinary. He also possesses the divine abilities taught by the Demon Sovereign. He certainly has the potential to be in the top 3. Mo Lehi? Perhaps you don't know, but he fought with Mo Fei a few days ago and was defeated. According to their agreement, the loser cannot participate in the battle today. Oh, is that true? If so, it's a real pity for Mo Lehi. Not necessarily. Mo Lehi may not participate in the battle, but his helper can. However, his helper is unknown, and victory seems unlikely. Besides these 3, are there no other strong contenders for this battle? What about Demon General Yusun? His mastery of the Slaughter Dao is said to have reached its peak. He is the only one among the demon generals without a city of his own, and he has spent years honing his skills in the Flame Demon Province. If he shows up, it will surely stir up a bloody storm. Indeed, and what about Demon General Mo1? His cultivation method is highly unique, and he inherited the ancient powers from the Dragon Pool's ancient demon hall. He is usually very low-key, with no one aware of his true strength. Today, we shall see what he is truly capable of. Let us not forget the 4th-place finisher from 300 years ago, Demon Immortal Xilian. Xilian, the only female demon general. She was said to have fought with injuries 300 years ago in the Demon General War and still managed to secure 4th place. If she hadn't been injured, Mo Fei's first place would surely have been in jeopardy. The voices of discussion echoed across the plaza, as everyone speculated on who would emerge victorious in this Demon General War. At this moment, under the demon drum in the center of the plaza, the elderly man in black armor with silver hair, after striking the first blow, stood straight and closed his eyes. Now he opened his eyes. His body turned into a blur of motion, and in an instant, he struck the demon drum. Boom! The second drumbeat resounded through the heavens and earth, halting all conversations. The sound of the drum spread throughout the entire Celestial Demon City. The sound, like a rolling thunder in the sky, reverberated, driving away the last traces of darkness from the dawn and welcoming the blinding sunlight. As the drumbeat echoed and the lingering thunder continued to spread, 8 rainbow-colored streaks shot through the sky, flying toward the plaza at incredible speed. These 8 individuals didn't use the main entrance, but instead sped directly through the air. Only those with martial titles could have such privilege. The 6 deputy marshals, Heaven, Xian, Huang, Yu, Zhou, and Huang, descended from the sky and took their seats on the second layer of the southern and northern platforms. Among them, Deputy Marshal Xian looked pale. Upon sitting, he immediately closed his eyes in meditation, ignoring everything around him. After the 6 of them took their seats, a thunderous roar, even more intense than the sound of the demon drum, erupted from the sky. In the entire heavenly demon province, 8 chief commanders appeared, stepping through the air, 7 men and 1 woman. The 8 exchanged respectful clasped fists in midair, then calmly descended to their respective seats without a word. Their arrival drew respectful gazes from all around. These 8 enjoyed unparalleled honor, second only to the demon sovereign himself in the heavenly demon province. Even in the land of demonic spirits, their names were renowned, known to all. Boom! The third beat of the drum echoed, its sound like thunder, several times louder than before, rumbling across 1,000 miles. Every ear was filled with the continuous roar of thunder. At this moment, all eyes turned toward a single spot, an empty seat on the first level of the eastern high platform. Just then, a man in golden armor stepped out from the palace behind the plaza. His gaze swept across the scene before locking onto the front. He called out in a low, commanding voice, "Demon generals, step forward." Like rolling thunder spreading across the surroundings, his words resounded. Ahead of him, the gates of the heavenly demon sect swung open, and one by one, the demon generals stepped out. Each of these generals was accompanied by cultivators. As they entered the plaza, all other gazes shifted from the empty seat to them. Deputy General Xian opened his eyes, staring with a hint of anger at one of the demon generals, letting out a cold snort. The person he was glaring at was Wang Lin, walking beside Mo Lehi. Wang Lin looked up at Deputy General Xian briefly, then looked away. Mo Lehi frowned, glanced at the empty seat on the high platform ahead, and murmured to himself, "Strange. Why hasn't the demon sovereign arrived?" Hundreds of demon generals marched out of the heavenly demon sect, arranging themselves in 2 rows. A powerful battle aura emanated from them, spreading across the heavens and earth. By the command of the demon sovereign, the rules of this demon general battle remain unchanged, duels by challenge. The deep voice of the golden-armored man announced, "The defeated have the right to call for their supporters to fight in their stead. Similarly, the victor can step back and allow their supporter to fight. Winning twice means victory. 1 win and 1 loss means both are disqualified. Furthermore, the final victor in this round cannot issue further challenges." The golden-armored man spoke slowly. His voice was not loud, but it reached the ears of everyone present with perfect clarity. Upon hearing this rule, Wang Lin's gaze sharpened. Though the rule seemed simple, it concealed a brutal truth, one stained with blood. If a contestant lost the first match, they were essentially disqualified. Their only option was to seek revenge, ensuring their opponent also lost, causing mutual disqualification. This is no competition, it's a slaughter. Wang Lin remained silent. In this demon general battle, death is allowed, but the dead must not be the demon generals themselves, only their supporters. If a demon general dies, the killer will be executed, the golden-armored man continued. Wang Lin frowned, his gaze turning cold as he looked at the golden-armored man. Demon general duels, cultivator clashes, positions earned through bloodshed. In this land of demonic spirits, only those who emerge from the rain of blood can gain a position. Wang Lin looked away, silent once more. "The contestants will be chosen by me." The golden-armored man raised his right hand and pointed, his choice landing on a thin figure. Demon General Mu Yun, step forward. The man named by the golden-armored commander stepped out, walking steadily to the center of the plaza. He was clad in armor, his face gaunt, with deeply sunken eyes and a slightly sallow complexion. He stood there, motionless, like an ancient pine. Mu Yun. He ranks among the top 30 demon generals. It's said he cultivates the 9 deaths and 9 lives chi, having reached the realm of 5 deaths and 5 lives 300 years ago. To face such a powerful figure in the first match, this demon general battle is going to be interesting. I wonder who will challenge him. A victory in the first match will surely earn the demon sovereign's attention. Even though he isn't here today, The battle reports will definitely be delivered to him. 10 breaths. If no one steps forward, I will call the challenger. The golden-armored man stated calmly, then closed his eyes, saying no more. On the plaza, the gaunt demon general stood silently. Time passed slowly, and at the 5th breath, another demon general stepped forward. As Xiao stepped out, Mu Yun's eyes burst with a flash of fierce light. The moment he appeared, an uproar spread through the plaza. Xiao. Demon General Xiao. His cultivation is at the 3rd armor level. Isn't it a bit bullying for him to fight? I thought Xiao's opponent would be Mo Lehi. 300 years ago, Mo Lehi left the first scar on Xiao's face, a scar that is his greatest shame. Xiao's appearance was best described as eerie. He walked to the center of the plaza, stopping 30 zhang away from Mu Yun. Calmly, he declared, Mu Yun, you are not my opponent. Step down. Demon General Mu Yun grinned, and his smile, combined with his appearance, gave off a chilling, almost corpse-like expression, exuding a sinister aura. Xiao. Mu Yun's right hand reached out into the air, and green energy surged from between his fingers, with a constant hissing sound echoing around. The green energy from his 5 fingers swayed like 5 spirit serpents, writhing and moving across his hand. 5 forms of life and death, demon chi. It seems your cultivation has broken through to the 7th layer of the 9 deaths and 9 lives art. Xiao glanced at Mu Yun, shaking his head. But it's still not enough. Mu Yun sneered coldly, stretching his hand forward. The 5 streams of green energy on his fingers twisted and crazily extended, rushing toward Xiao. As the 5 green energies stretched forward, the sound of air being torn apart filled the air, and a thick, foul wind spread instantly around them. The demon generals around immediately focused their eyes on the 5 green energies, their gazes filled with surprise. Xiao shook his head, his body remaining still. He swiftly waved his right hand forward, his index finger lightly tapping, his middle finger tapping again, and then his ring finger pointed. His hand then formed a palm, pressing forward. A diamond-shaped light diagram suddenly appeared in front of Xiao's palm. In the blink of an eye, it collided with the 5 green energies. A thunderous roar echoed, and waves of sand and wind rippled across the ground. The 5 green energies entered the light diagram and were immediately shredded, dispersing into green light that scattered in all directions. At the same time, the light sphere flickered and shot out at an incredible speed, directly smashing into the space in front of Mu Yun. It exploded with a loud bang. The shockwave from the explosion instantly drained the color from Mu Yun's face, causing him to stagger backward for several yards before finally stabilizing. His expression was one of shock. I told you, you're still not enough. Your helper can make his appearance now. Xiao withdrew his right hand and spoke indifferently. As soon as his words fell, the ground trembled, and a figure emerged from the ranks of the demon generals. This person was enormous, with a body heavy with muscle weighing several hundred pounds. He was bare-chested, and with every step, the ground trembled. Within 3 steps, he arrived in front of Xiao and sneered. Little brat, your giant spirit sect Sky Kuei Sage is Mu Yun's helper. Wang Lin glanced at the large man. The giant spirit sect was a major sect on the Destiny Star. Their divine arts, much like those of the giant demon clan, focused on overwhelming strength and suppressing all other techniques. The giant man let out a low growl and took a step forward. A surge of immortal power erupted from his body, forming a dense, immortal mist that surrounded him. In this moment, his body was enveloped in mist, moving toward Xiao at incredible speed. The ground trembled as if thousands of horses were galloping. The figure within the mist roared forward, and the low murmurs of incantations could be heard from within the fog. A strange force immediately enveloped the surrounding area, creating an unusual sealing barrier. Among the demon generals, there was also a man of similar girth, dressed in a green robe, with a large sword on his back. He narrowed his eyes, muttering to himself, "This person's appearance now somewhat resembles my sword spirit." Xiao snorted coldly but remained unmoved, as though rooted in place. He stretched out his right hand, quickly tapping into the air, his fingers striking in rapid succession until they formed a pointed shape, piercing forward. As his fingers tapped the air, Threads of demon power flowed from his body, transforming into black threads that shot out from his fingertips, merging into the pointed form of his hand. The moment the giant man roared and charged forward, Shi Zhao's right hand struck the air in front of him. His fingers formed a sharp cone and pierced through the immortal mist before pressing directly onto the giant man's brow with the force of a raging dragon. Shi Zhao's speed was too fast. The giant man roared, and the tremendous shockwave from his charge dissipated in an instant under the pointed strike. His face changed slightly, and he swiftly retreated, his body moving with surprising lightness. Boom, boom, boom. As the giant man retreated, the ground cracked beneath him. He staggered back 3 steps, crossing several yards. As he retreated, blood mist began to pour from his body. With his final step back, his body trembled, and he collapsed, his form disintegrating into pieces of blood and flesh, scattering across the plaza. 5 black threads shot out from his bloodied remains, merging into Shi Zhao's body. The Demon General War doesn't decide life or death. You outsiders are just here to serve as sacrifices. Shi Zhao withdrew his hand, his gaze cold as he stared at Mo Lehi among the demon generals. Mo Lehi, do you dare to fight me? As soon as these words were spoken, a murmur rippled through the audience, likely spurred on by the bloody display. Everyone was now fully alert. Mo Lehi glanced at Shi Zhao and said flatly, I was defeated by Mo Fei. I won't participate in this demon general war. A flash of killing intent flickered in Shi Zhao's eyes as he stared at Mo Lehi for a long while. His gaze then shifted to Wang Lin beside him, and with a sinister smile, he said, You, come down and play with me. No interest in a no-kill battle, Wang Lin replied flatly, not even looking at Shi Zhao. Shi Zhao snorted coldly. Just then, the golden-armored man cast a cold glance at Wang Lin and spoke in a deep voice. Demon General Shi Zhao, step back. You've won this battle. According to the rules, you cannot challenge others this round. Shi Zhao looked at Wang Lin, walked toward him, and passed right by him. As they brushed past each other, he softly murmured, Since Mo Lehi dares not fight, I'll kill you to vent my anger from back then. Wang Lin didn't even spare him a glance, his expression unchanged. The golden-armored man pointed his right hand at Wang Lin and said, You, step forward. Wang Lin's expression remained calm as he walked out and stood in the center of the plaza. Within 10 breaths, if there are no challengers, I will call out the names. The golden-armored man said before closing his eyes.